don't mind rain or shine. You can always take my time. Throw it up against the wind.
So what is this liquid falling from the sky today? I woke up this morning and of course I had run my irrigation last night because, well, I'll explain that in a second as to what happened over the weekend. But yeah, there's some sort of liquid falling from the sky and this has not happened in a very long time. So I don't know the exact numbers right now, but I know it's been probably a month or slightly longer since we've had any major significant kind of rain. So today I woke up and it definitely was not raining all that hard. So I need to go check the rain gauge to see what kind of rain that we're actually dealing with. But I have a feeling that with just a little bit of showers I was seeing, it's not going to be anything extremely significant. Does anybody else hear that? Birds, airplanes, dogs barking, kids yelling. I swear I cannot get anything done today. 0.11 inches. Just wonderful. In all honesty though, I guess you could definitely say things are getting pretty serious around here as far as the drought situation goes. So that kind of moves into what happened over the weekend. We were up in Minnesota for my niece's graduation, and for those of you who don't know, a few people have still asked me that or said that they didn't know I was from Minnesota, but I think that usually I make it fairly clear by wearing all of this Minnesota gear. Now I know here in Iowa that there's a lot of Vikings fans and a lot of other Minnesota fans too. Now I wouldn't go through all of the pain and suffering of being a Minnesota fan if I was not from that state, but I was born into this. So every time we get to the border, my wife is from Iowa, and we get to the Minnesota border and we cross the border and I say to her, can't you just breathe in all that cleaner air? Doesn't it just feel so much better here in Minnesota? And she looks over to me and gives me that eye roll every single time. But I loved being back in the home state, even if it was just for a couple days. But what happened here while I was gone was we had our pretty much warmest day of the season. It was 96 or 97 actual temperature. Heat index was around 105. And for some reason, I forgot to water that night, which was not a good scenario. I think one of the things right now that I'm being asked the most is how much am I actually watering my yard? And surprisingly, it's been actually right at an inch or a little bit less than an inch per week, even on my shortcut grass. And I think that's a testament to a lot of preparation work going into it last fall, into this spring, and it takes time to kind of train your yard. But I also have really good soil here. We've talked about this many times. So that plays into a lot of things in helping me get through some of this summer stress. But that hot day was not a good idea for me to be on a schedule of watering, and that was supposed to be my night to water. I got just a little bit stressed by the time I got home. I could see a few areas that were starting to get some dry spots. Also related to that though is that if you watch my growth regulator video, that I did apply some growth regulator to my backyard, and on the label it says do not apply to heat stressed grass or really during the extreme parts of heat, and I had never applied it to this lawn back here before, but I was going on a vacation and it was still growing really well, and I knew I wasn't gonna be able to mow, so I just decided to go for it. The problem has become is that it got really stressed from that application, not to the point that I feel like it's any sort of major harm that's going to happen long term. So I was watering this when I was gone though, but I'm going to show you here where it's starting to come out of regulation. It looks really good. Where it's not coming out of regulation, it looks very bad at this point. So check this out. We got mushrooms growing still because of a lot of heat, humidity, moisture. And we've got this section right here, a real lime green kind of section, but that's actually where it's completely pretty much come out of regulation. And then these areas here that are kind of brownish and they just don't look very good compared to that little bit right there. This is where the regulation is still on it, and I think it should be coming off. I'm seeing more and more areas that are starting to look like this again instead of like this. But it's taking a lot more time than I thought it would. So I'd say probably give that another few weeks here and we should be back to normal. But note to self, again, for the future, I would probably just let it get longer and cut it back down when I got home, rather than sort of having it look weird and brown right now. So one thing though nice is that I think the regulation is also finally coming off of this section over here. It's been much more delayed with that regulator on there. I'd prefer to mow every other day or so, and so hopefully we can get back to that, and I look forward to fall when things are going to get back to normal. So we continue now to not have any rain, and we've moved now, according to the drought monitor, into a severe drought in parts of western Iowa. But it's really starting to look pretty bad around here in terms of browning and everything being completely dormant at this point without rain for weeks and weeks. And so something that I don't think about a whole lot, even though I've grown up in this area or in the Midwest area with all of these farm fields everywhere and corn and beans everywhere, is that a lot of you don't realize that most of the areas here around where I am do not have any irrigation on any of their fields. Now, if you go out west, where I was just out there in Utah and driving out through Nebraska and those areas, all those fields will usually have an irrigation system on them so that they can make sure that during dry weather, also with the soils that they have, they can make sure that those fields actually produce well and they get the moisture that they need. But around here in most areas, we are relying on our soil to hold that moisture. It's very rich soil, it's very rich in organic matter, and it does a pretty good job. But also, when we're not getting rain for weeks and weeks, we were relying on our climate during the summer to usually produce thunderstorms, to produce some moisture there for these crops. Today I thought it might be kind of interesting. I can go to a couple little areas that I like to look at fields and kind of show you what Iowa looks like in some areas. Might be fun for a little adventure. So I come out here quite a bit, some of these different little parks and stuff kind of around the area that are out in the country, because nobody's really out here for the most part, so people don't really take advantage of them. And usually here the water level is fairly high, but it's definitely looking like it's been dry now. Kind of see over there on the bank where the water level gets to sometimes. This bridge is also kind of crazy. So the interesting thing here, like I said, is that corn is a warm season plant, and so it's different than my lawn in that my lawn is trying to just survive in the summertime here, and this corn is actually thriving with the heat. And even right now, with how dry everything is, the corn still looks fairly decent. Now, the yields might be down a bit if we don't get some rain here pretty soon. So I thought that maybe some of you who are watching from different parts of the world or different parts of the country that don't really know what's going on up here in the Midwest, I thought it'd just be kind of unique today to show you a bit of what's going on here with our farm fields and the fact that we're kind of just letting these plants sit out on their own and fend for themselves. So I also heard there might be something in bloom right now that I wanted to go check out, and it shouldn't be too far of a distance from here, so let's go check that out, see what it looks like. Yeah, apparently it's an attraction, I guess you'd say. So this is seriously not far from my house. And I don't know if this is a new thing this year or not, but it's pretty cool. So check this out. Alright, so apparently my rain dance must have worked because we finally got a decent rain yesterday, and it actually rained for probably 6 hours straight, sort of steady. 1 inch right there. One inch and 5/100ths. And this thing has been sitting here in the sun too today for quite a while, so slightly a little bit of that could have evaporated, but we needed that really bad and finally got some rain. Now we're still behind in terms of what our normal would be, but cannot complain about an inch of rain when we did not see anything for over a month.